And this was at the time I would see stories about him yelling at Sway, yelling at, you know. Yeah, and I'm like, this is not the dude that I interviewed.
This nonsense from like AOC that he should be impeached is just absurd. Absurd. There's no... Okay, get back to me when you've read the Constitution or get a law degree, because you sound like an absolute fucking idiot. There is absolutely no ground to impeach the president.
Joe Rogan and Megyn Kelly square off in a fiery on-air showdown targeting Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It's the kind of confrontation that demands attention. Rogan fires off his signature unfiltered commentary, blending sharp humor with blunt critique, while Kelly cuts through the moment with controlled intensity and prosecutorial focus. Together they scrutinize what they describe as AOC's headline-driven politics, perceived contradictions, and carefully timed outrage, turning the exchange into a pointed public reckoning. From sweeping climate promises critics call unrealistic to viral House floor speeches seemingly tailored for social media momentum, nothing is spared. For anyone who assumed AOC was beyond challenge, this relentless pairing suggests otherwise. They dissect the spectacle, question the substance behind the slogans, and shift the glare of media attention into sustained, unsparing examination.
First of all, you've got incompetent use of funds. Like,
where does the money go?
Exactly.
All our tax, where does it go?
This idea that if you tax the rich, that all of a sudden all the problems will stop existing. That is so silly. You still have incompetent people that are distributing the money. They'll just create more jobs. There'll be more red tape.
And we get more in debt.
Yeah. What we got to do is figure out a real plan for engineering our civilization.
We don't care enough about you to hate you. We just see that you're a fool. You make a fool out of yourself virtually every day. That's why we talk about you. We're laughing at you. We're making a mockery of you. You're making a mockery of yourself. It's not hatred. You really should learn to distinguish.
Oh man, the girls are fighting, aren't they? You know, I would say that this was something that was a long time coming.
Joe didn't bother hiding his grin. It flickered before he even spoke, a look that suggested he believed he'd already decoded the moment. To him, the display felt rehearsed, amplified, almost theatrical. And at the center stood AOC, the congresswoman whose controversies often morph into viral moments. The cameras capture it. The clips circulate. But this time, the energy around the spotlight felt different.
Did you see the Green New Deal, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
No.
There's so she publishes, it's a non-binding resolution, which means that even if it passes, they can't enforce anything. But my God, the fact sheet they released alongside it literally said they want to provide economic security for people who are unwilling to.
Joe leaned toward the microphone with visible confidence. No notes in hand, no pause for effect. He seemed convinced the headlines had already framed his argument. The dramatic sound bites, the online outrage, and the sweeping proclamations had, in his view, packaged the narrative. To him, it wasn't governance. It was performance. He wasn't interested in policy papers. He aimed to challenge what he saw as an act. Listening to AOC speak on economic issues, Joe remarked, felt like watching someone charge ahead decisively, yet in the wrong direction.
And the reason this is relevant is because a congresswoman who you may know as Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has been telling us for years that she is from the Bronx. And recently she had a fight with President Trump over tweet, text, truth, whatever. And she played tough and said, "Oh, don't you mess with me, I'm a Bronx girl, and we eat Queens boys for breakfast."
He focused on AOC as a public persona rather than as a legislator. In his framing, she appears less like a member of Congress and more like a digital age influencer holding public office. Joe joked that if social media engagement translated into legislation, she'd be unstoppable. But governing isn't filtered through hashtags. Online applause doesn't automatically translate into enacted law. With that, his tone shifted from playful to pointed, drawing a distinction between online visibility and institutional authority.
Information that's inconveniently bad for that one side, particularly the left, you don't hear a fucking peep about it on the media.
Right.
It's dismissed. It's like they'll talk about it like someone said. Someone talked about the Hunter Biden laptop and said it was like half fake. That was like a term. AOC. Half fake. That's right. That is such a horrible violation of the trust that the people who elect.
Joe argued that AOC's strongest asset isn't detailed policy but presentation. He claimed she can pivot effortlessly, delivering contested points with unwavering confidence. With a half smile, he suggested that emotionally charged language is delivered so fluidly that some listeners walk away inspired, even if the core ideas feel familiar. In his assessment, it's confidence, not depth, that often carries the message, with style outweighing substance.
Probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I've ever met.
This dude is probably one of the most unintelligent billionaires I have ever met, or seen, or witnessed. I mean, this guy is one of the most morally vacant, but also least knowledgeable about these systems that we really know of. They don't do their homework. Clearly, they're putting 19-year-olds in at the Treasury. This dude is not smart.
He continued by saying her most potent instrument isn't legislation but indignation. Speeches are framed as revelations of fresh injustice. Routine debates are elevated into moral showdowns. Applause arrives not strictly because arguments are airtight, he suggested, but because they resonate emotionally. In Joe's telling, the performances sometimes feel less like policy debate and more like audition pieces.
By any measure, it is richer, nicer, and more white collar than the Bronx, with all due respect to my friends in the Bronx. She's pretending to be a Bronx girl because she wants this to be part of her origin story.
Turning to the Green New Deal, his tone sharpened. Joe described it as more aspirational vision than operational blueprint. Vast spending proposals paired with what he characterized as limited specifics. Ambition stretched to its limits. To him, it resembled spectacle presented as solution. He painted AOC as a climate advocate with cinematic flair, championing working-class themes while navigating polished public platforms. In his framing, it reflected aesthetic activism, messaging carefully curated for maximum impact. Still, he insisted his reaction was more bemusement than anger. To Joe, AOC embodied a broader shift in modern politics, where imagery can shape perception as powerfully as policy.